Hey there, welcome back to Tennille Talks. Y'all, before I begin this reading, I posted session number 2 of our tarot course on Patreon for tier 3. I am going to save or share that same session on YouTube. That way you guys can kind of see what happens in our tarot course or the sessions that we're doing together on Patreon. So you'll get this message today, but you'll also be able to head on over to the community section where we have posts and you'll get a link to that course. All right, I'm going to jump into this reading. Now, in order to begin, I just want to talk about a covenant. A covenant is a sacred agreement. It is a promise. A covenant is going to outline a relationship. You are in a covenant with the Most High, with God. You have a sacred agreement. You have a promise. Your relationship is outlined with specific conditions, obligations, and blessings. Because you have this relationship with the Most High, God can transmit things to you simply because you are tethered, because you are connected. And so when God transmits, this is God passing information. Now, when you receive information from the Most High, it can come in many ways. Maybe it comes by way of spiritual energy. Maybe you get it by way of knowledge, or maybe there's an experience that the Most High needs you to live in a little bit in order to pick up a message. I'm going to read this. It says, God transmits the covenant through his messages and uses them to solidify all aspects of his work on the earth plane. Now, y'all, I like food. And so for some reason, when I saw solidify, I just thought of a stick of butter. And so sometimes butter can be solid. Sometimes it's going to be more like a liquid. But if you have one job, if your agreement, if your covenant with the Most High says that you got one job, I'm going to give you information. When I give you information, I want you to make it solid. When I heard solid, I thought about the states of matter. So that means if God wants you to make it solid, you must receive information from the Most High in the other 2 states of matter. That means you're either going to get the covenant by way of gas or a liquid. This is what I'm saying. When you receive messages, if God gives you a message in the form of liquid, something will be dropped in your spirit. Your liquid is your emotional body. Those are your waters. That's your intuition. Sometimes the Most High will move the waters in you in a specific way. You still got one job. You take whatever is placed in your water and you turn it into a solid. Next, what happens if you get something by way of a gas? A gas is air. That means that the Most High can deposit something in your thoughts, your knowledge, your wisdom. Sometimes you'll get a download. You'll get a vision. That is air moving. That is the Most High transmitting something to you and through you by way of gas. You still got one job. You have to make it solid. You have to solidify it on earth. And so you are a seed. You are a seed, and wherever you are planted, you are transmitting information, knowledge, and wisdom. The Most High is dropping something in your spiritual waters by way of your emotion and intuition, or the Most High is dropping something into you by way of a gas because you must think something. You must get a vision. There's something I want you to know. There's a wisdom I want you to possess, y'all. And so as a seed, you will be planted, which means you're going to be in darkness for a period of time, but then all seeds grow, which means they got to break ground. And so light is going to be a part of your experience too. You are not afraid of the light, nor do you fear the darkness. You got one job. I got to grow whatever God has given me into something solid while I am here on this earth. Let me tell you why that's your position. I'm going to read a card to you. It says, our ancestors were orchestrators who seeded worlds and civilizations with light and creativity through information and love. You are a seed of the Most High because your soul is an orchestrator. It is a builder. It is a creator of worlds. It is a creator of civilizations. And so wherever you are seated, unplanted, wherever you are living life, you are bringing with you light and creativity. You bring light and creativity in two ways: by way of the information that you share, or simply the love that you give. So y'all, that is you. And I've talked about your covenant. I've talked about the things that are transmitted through you and the fact that you really got one job while you're here on earth. But this job is not new to you. This is something that is true to your soul. Not only your soul, but this is about the lineage of your soul. So what you are doing in this life on earth, you have done. You have created. You have built in other times, other civilizations, other realms, star systems, and dimensions. This is literally what you do. Now, let's go a little deeper. This message is telling me that because that is the calling of you, because you have that sacred promise, that covenant, and that agreement, sometimes you got a little extra that comes along with your life, meaning your job is not necessarily going to be an easy one. You will have opposition. You will have people who don't want to see you planted. You will have people who don't want to see you grow. Those messages that the Most High gives you, those messages that you transmit by way of your emotions or your mind, there's going to be interference. People will want to distort the conversation and the communication. Whatever it is you're supposed to make solid, there are absolutely forces that never want that to take place. All right, y'all. I'm really about to get into this reading. The very first card I pulled is faith. And so one of the things that you are going to have with you in whatever world you are seated in, based on the covenant and the agreement that you have with the Most High, you are obligated to have faith. Y'all, how much faith do you need? You only need a mustard seed. The Most High is saying you don't need a lot of faith. You don't need a lot, but you're going to have it with you. And so why is it that you need faith? Well, because there are going to be times when you are seated when it doesn't always look like you have what you need. There are going to be times where you will lack. You will have less. You will want more, but you will not have access to more. You will want something to unfold in your life, and you will have no idea how that will take place. And so faith says, no matter what process I am in my seeding or in my planting, no matter what happens when the Most High plants me, I know that everything I need will always come. I know that love, the same love I'm responsible for bringing, that love is a doorway. And anytime I get a little nervous about not having something, anytime I think that I'm going to lack or the Most High has forgotten about me, I'm going to walk through the door of love because it will just open my mind up to imagine more. Right? And so when you carry love, you have the ability to receive things that even you cannot imagine. The Most High says, I need you to hold on to that level of faith, but it don't got to be a lot. It just has to be a mustard seed. Why is that? There will be times when you are working in worlds. There will be times when you will be working in civilizations and you will be exhausted. Y'all, I get to the energy of the Four of Swords. This is like a moment of rest, refuge, recovery, stress, or withdrawal. Sometimes you're working in your mission. Sometimes you will recover from your mission. During your recovery period, it is in that time where you must have faith. Y'all, just think about laying down and being exhausted and needing to take a breath. This means that your mission will tire you out. One of the reasons why you will get tired out in this mission is I literally have a card that says entity attachment. Y'all, so here comes the adversary. They have entered the chat. One of the things that your ancestors have battled is entities. When an entity is attached to you, it wants to do one thing. It wants to strip you of every resource and tool that you have. And so the Most High is saying, listen, you are my seed. You are orchestrating something on my behalf. There will be moments where you need deep, rest, deep stillness, because this does come with a level of stress and exhaustion. When you feel stressed, when you need to take a deep breath, I want you to breathe in faith that whatever you're needing, whatever you're lacking, whatever you're missing, it's going to come. There will be entities attached to you and they will drain you. They will drain your energy. They will drain your spirit. They'll drain your hope, and this doesn't happen consistently. But y'all, there will be times when you are going to be depleted and on E. I have a card here and it says money paradox. The money paradox explains that, listen, sometimes you have to lose money in order to make money. This is the paradox that you must understand. If you experience lack, if you go through life on earth where you don't have access to finances and resources, I need you to know that I'm still going to get them to you. But I cannot get them to you unless you keep a door open. You must keep a door open for the Most High. There are two doors. One is called faith and one is called love. You have faith that what I give you is always going to come, even when it looks like you will never have what you need. And then I need you to keep that love door open, because that is where something is going to come that you couldn't even imagine. Entities want you to close two doors. They want to close your door of faith and they want to close your door of love. But if you can master the money paradox, and it talks about losing money and making money, but this is saying, listen, you're not always going to be a receiver. Sometimes you are going to have to deposit things. Sometimes you will be depleted only to be filled again. And so don't get tricked by the seasons or the moments of lack or loss. Hang on to your faith, because the entity is draining and stripping you. Y'all, I thought about, how sometimes if you put your hand in a fist, but like in your mind and in your heart, you're like, I really want to receive. I really want to receive. But if your hand is in a fist, y'all, nothing can enter. And sometimes we have lost so much in our life that we don't want to let go of what we have. But when we cling to what we have a closed fist. We cannot receive anything with a closed fist, a closed heart, a closed mind, and nothing can enter through a closed door. The entity closes your fist. It closes your mind. It closes your heart so that you won't receive. But if you master the money paradox that says sometimes you lose and you got to lose in order to earn, this means, listen, I will know that you have faith in my covenant with me when you walk around with an empty hand. Y'all, do you know how scary it is to have very little or to feel like you have nothing, but to still keep your hand open? Because if your hand is open, this means that, guess what? Not only are you going to receive and gain, but you still might lose a little more. Y'all, we have those seasons where we become selfish. We've lost so much that we can't imagine giving any more away. And so your faith looks like an open hand, even during seasons of your greatest lack. Don't you ever close your hand. Yes, you will lose, but it's got to be open in order for you to receive and gain. The entity wants to close your hand, your heart, and your mind. Don't fall for it. Your faith and your love is what protects you from those attachments. Y'all, this reading says that you will be dealing with some type of opposition in two ways. Now, what I haven't gotten to is that the energies that want to put you in lack, y'all, in order for that entity to come to you, somebody raggedy got to muster it up. Somebody's got to conjure that thing. Y'all, this reading talks about a 3 of Cups. Now, the image on the card for this 3 of Cups, it's like 3 glasses being raised in the air. And so think about being at a social event and you finally hear the tapping on the glass with the fork, which means somebody's got to make a toast, somebody's got a speech, we got to celebrate something. There are at least 3 people who raise their glasses in the air, and they do this when they see you in your life experience loss. And so when that entity is attached to you, it's because somebody has sent it to you. Your lack is a win for another. Your lack is gain for another. Y'all, when you lack faith, somebody else wins. When you close the door and you can't love, somebody and something else wins. That is you are breaching the covenant. You better not close that door. And you better not lose that faith. Y'all, one mustard seed can fuck an entire entity attachment up. The Most High says you just need faith to get that entity off you. That's all you need. And faith is a vibration. If you can carry the vibration of faith, the entity cannot last. It cannot sustain itself in your auric field. What is an entity? An entity is an outside energy that attaches itself to a living person's energy field. And so if your field is calling in money, calling in success, giving out light, giving out creativity, the entity is like, we got to shut that shit down. They want you to be in a period of rest, isolation. They want you to be exhausted and stressed and on your back. Even when you withdraw, you still working. That covenant still matters. You still got to solidify whatever God gives you. Even if it feels like you have nothing, you have faith. Y'all, there is a group of people, they are coming out as being described as offended people. Sometimes people just are offended and they feel like you have wronged them. That is a them thing. It is not a you thing. But unfortunately, this reading says that those people who feel like you have wronged them are obsessed. Somebody has an obsession with you. Now, this is the Three of Cups, so this is a group. This is not one person. And so you got a group of loonies that are obsessed. Obsession means you preoccupy their mind. You continuously intrude their mental space, not because you're showing up, not because you refuse to leave, but because they keep putting you in their own mind. They are obsessed with you. What is it about you that they are obsessed with? Y'all, I have a card that says loss. When you lose, you are an offering. When you are in a state of lack, you have become an offering. Y'all, what is an offering? An offering is something, it is a gift. It is a sacrifice that is made to a deity. And so you know that you are in agreement with the Most High. And so anything that moves against you is not in a covenant or agreement with the Most High. That itself is working with a deity or an entity or something lesser, a God of a little g. And so you got a group of people who feel offended by you. They're obsessed with you. And so they only want to see you experience lack. And so when they send this entity to attach to your energetic field to drain you of everything you have, your faith fucks them up. Your love fucks them up. Right? But this doesn't mean that they're not going to continuously use you as some type of offering or sacrifice. Their God, their deity rewards them when they successfully deplete you. And it is because of what you are seated here to do. Everybody ain't worth an entity. Everybody ain't worth learning this level of occult knowledge or wisdom. Y'all, sometimes you got to kill some animals and you got to pay for that animal before you kill it. When you offer things, when you slaughter things, we're talking about money. You are worth money to people. Watching you lose, watching you sit in lack, people are willing to pay for this experience. When they see this in your life, that is when they raise their glass. That is when they celebrate. That is the moment when they cheers with one another. And this is their obsession. I'm going to read a card to you. It says he discovers how to go beyond the consciousness parameters, which lock him into continuous cycles of rebirth. I'm going to read it again, but I'm going to say she. She discovers how to go beyond the consciousness parameters, which lock her into continuous cycles of rebirth. However you classify. He, she, they, them. These people are offended that you have gotten out of some type of level that they locked you in. Let me tell you this. You broke out of a jail. What I'm saying is that you are a sacrifice, not once, not twice, but continuously. Whoever these people that have you as an obsession, whatever this group is that conjures entities to attach itself so that you are drained, so that you lose anything you make, you just gonna lose it again. And so you're never really gaining and growing. Whoever these people are, they are offended that you are consciously beyond the parameter, meaning they can't reach you. You've grown so far that they can't lock you into a cycle of rebirth. That means you get and then you lose. You get and you lose. Y'all, how do you complete the covenant? How do you complete your obligations that the Most High gives you if you can't continuously grow? And so you literally have one job: to grow, because when you grow, light grows. When you grow, creativity grows. And so the entity is supposed to stop your growth, and it stops your growth so that it locks you consciously. You only rebirth again and again and again. This means that somebody needs your loss to be automatic. They need your loss to happen again and again. It almost has to be a cycle, right? You have a work schedule. I get up at this time, I go to work, I come home. That is how somebody needs your loss and lack to happen in your life. They need to calculate it. They need to be able to write it, to plan it, to schedule it. And when they see it happen continuously, that's the moment everybody wants to go to the bar. That's the moment everybody wants to celebrate. For some people, your lack and loss is their win. And this is a soul thing, y'all. This is a soul thing. This is not just you. This is your ancestors. This is what you experience wherever you are walking in this reality or this creation. Anywhere in the universe where you show up, something wants you to lack because you're extending the will and the ways of the Most High. You are coming to make some shit solid, and not everybody likes what you are about to make solid. And so, y'all, at some point, you consciously expand. There's one specific way that I'm going to share with you in this reading that allows you to blow past any boundary or chain or limitation that these offended people who are obsessed with you like to keep you in. Y'all, there's something specific that you did. In the center of the reading, we have a card that talks about divine flow. Divine flow. And this says, listen, you made a promise to yourself, and you didn't tell anybody that you made this promise. But you essentially said to yourself, I don't care what happens. I am not leaving my path. Meaning you understand your covenant, you understand your message, your calling, your duty. And no matter what happens, you're like, yo, I'm not leaving this path. I don't care how dark it gets. I don't care how painful or how hurtful people can be. I'm going to stay on my path. Y'all, you're coming up as a priestess. And so that is almost like a secret. You carry a secret wisdom, a secret knowledge that people can't perceive. They can't pick it up. They can't see it, and it is between you and the Most High. And there are some non-negotiables that you have put in place in your life, and this is why the Most High can trust you to walk through darkness and to not be afraid. This is why people can send darkness to you, but you can still stay true to your path. Y'all, at some point you become self-aware. Let me tell you, as long as the energy is attached to you, it brings you endings. Remember, there are two ways that the Most High communicates to you. It's through your mind and through your emotions. And so the entity is either going to want to end your mind, because your mind is what connects to the universe. That's how you manifest. And so if you're afraid of losing, if you're sad about losing money, if you're sad about losing lack, you have just closed the door to the universe for you to be able to receive. Y'all, sometimes we lose so much, we forget that we are a trust fund baby of the universe, meaning we can never not have. We can never not have, but you will not have if you forget that you can never not have, okay? And so the entity wants you to forget how your money is set up. Right? And if you can't remember in your mind that you will never lack, you will experience an ending. Now, the entity also wants to get inside of your waters. It wants to get in your intuition and your emotion. And it wants you to feel like that love that you want to spread, that love that you want to receive. The entity wants you to feel like that love is never going to come to you. Let me read this card to you. It says mantra for self-forgiveness. I forgive myself for staying in relationships that hurt me because I wanted to be loved. Y'all, and so the entity is going to attack your waters, your emotions, and your love life. It'll attack your mind because it is after your manifestations. When you hold on to faith and when you hold on to love, this is saying that in darkness, you had the ability to be so self-aware that you recognized your own emotions. Y'all, sometimes we will stay in relationships because we are thinking that the very person we gave love to is the very person that we are going to get it back from. And sometimes we stay and we stay and we stay and we wait for the return. And so this says at some point you woke up and you're like, yo, what the I'm still in this relationship. After all this time, I can make in deposits of love and I haven't received anything back. And so some point you become so self-aware. Y'all, when I got to this part of the reading, I thought about you sitting yourself on your own couch. And what I'm saying is sometimes you have to become your own therapist, psychologist, or psychiatrist. You have to sit and talk to yourself about yourself. And so at some point you're like, you know what, baby, we've been in this relationship for a long time. And this relationship is hurtful. This relationship doesn't necessarily feel good. Why do you think we're still here? What are we waiting for? What are we looking for? This is literally a conversation that you have with yourself from a very objective point of view. You're investigating. You're not interrogating, but you're observing and you're asking, self, why do we do this? Self, why are we sad? Why are we crying? Why are we continuously hurting? What is making us do this? And you honestly say to yourself, I want to be loved. And honestly, I want to be loved by the people that I love. Meaning when I poured into this person, everything inside of me thought that this person would pour back into me. And so sometimes you get locked into that agreement. You get locked into things and you don't even recognize that there will never ever be love that returns from that thing, that person, place, or thing that you've poured into. Y'all, if you don't become self-aware and if you don't recognize your own emotions and if you don't sit yourself on your own couch and become your own therapist, the entity is going to run you emotionally and it will keep you trapped in cycles of pain, cycles of relationships where you are experiencing hurt because you just want to be loved. It is absolutely okay to want to be loved. It is natural, it is normal, and you are deserving in every way. But you must recognize when you are sitting in a relationship or a situation that cannot return it to you. When you stay, that is when you forgive yourself. When you forgive yourself for staying, the entity cannot exist because it is in that moment that you have purified your own waters. You've had a conversation with yourself. You were honest, you asked, you responded, and then you said, you know what, we got to clean this up here. And so I forgive me for all of the years, for all of the months, and for all of the ways that I wanted to receive love from this person, place, or thing. Y'all, all you got to do is recognize that your own waters are not pure. You got to recognize that your own waters are tainted. When you recognize that you are hurt and you can identify why you are hurt, the game changes because you can see. This is how you bring clarity and purity. Y'all, to be self-aware is to make sure that you are not only on the path, but you are walking the path upright. When we don't know why we do what we do, when we continuously hurt and sacrifice ourselves to the point that it is hard for us to complete our mission, we're supposed to bring love, we're supposed to bring light, we're supposed to bring creativity and emotion. It is so hard to do that when you are leaking pain. It is so hard to do that when you're crying. The entity wants you to cry. The entity wants you to forever be wounded. Why? Because your job stops, your mission stops. And so there is almost like a secret agreement agreement that you have yourself with yourself, where I will always forgive myself for getting something wrong. I will always forgive myself for wanting love. The way I go about wanting love, the things I do to have love, I'm not trying to hurt me. And so y'all, when you can forgive yourself for making mistakes, the entity cannot exist in your waters for too long. The entity cannot exist in your mind for too long, because you're factory resetting yourself. Now, a part of the covenant with the Most High, because remember at the very beginning of the reading, I talked about you having a covenant, and I said it was a sacred agreement. It comes with obligations, it comes with conditions, y'all, but it also comes with blessings. There is something that you knew that you never, ever forgot about the covenant between you and the Most High. Y'all, I have a card here. It says ease, and it repeats the same thing again and again on the card. It says, it's easy for me to receive. It's easy for me to receive. It's easy for me to receive. Y'all, that is almost like a soft, slow whisper that just resonates through you, no matter what day, no matter what time it is. Y'all, what I'm telling you is that a part of the conversation that you have with the Most High, you know without a shadow of a doubt that even when it seems hard for you to get what you want on this planet, it's actually easy for you, because the Most High said that your blessings come from me. They don't come from anything in that world. I bless you. And so even if the world sets itself up against you to the point where it looks like you will always be in lack, I need you to know that it is easy for you to receive. Y'all, this reading says that because you were a seed that continued to grow, and that you did not fear light, you did not feel darkness, you knew that a part of your blessing was a love offer. Y'all, somebody has a love offer that is coming. And it is only coming because you never forgot. It's easy for me to receive love, right? Y'all, you give love so fucking easy, but how hard has it been for people to return that to you? What I'm saying is, even when people didn't return it, you never ever felt like it would be hard for you to receive it. Just because it's hard for people to return it to you, it doesn't mean that it's hard for you to receive it. There is a difference. So you can't give it to me. It don't mean that I can't have it. That's okay. It's okay if you can't give it to me. I know that I will receive it. And so this means that as long as you stay tied to people, places, and things that can't give you love, this means that you have forgotten how easy it is for you to receive love. You cannot get love when you are tied to a person or a place or thing that is not giving you love, right? And so when you forgive yourself for staying tied to people, places, and things that are not love, that means that you become free. You free yourself from those situations. And now guess what? It's easy for you to receive it because you're not tied to the thing that would never have given it to you. Y'all, this is something that you recognized. And so you are a seed that grew no matter what. The entity couldn't stop you because you made peace with loss. You made peace with lack. You held on to faith and you held on to love. You're like, yo, I know my ancestors. This is what we do here. I've done this before. This is not my first world. This is not my first civilization. So, okay, entity. Right? And then you make peace with your emotions. You're self-aware. You're like, yo, I should not be in pain all the time. What is in my waters? Something is in my waters and it's making me bind myself to painful people, places, and things. I gotta purify this shit. And then you're like, yo, oh God, I gotta leave. I've been here too long. I've been attached to hurt for so long that I'm not even allowing myself to get love. Okay, so I forgive myself for that. Now I can move on to the next thing. Y'all, as long as you stay in hurtful situations, you are the perfect offering to the sick, obsessed group of people that want to see you experience lack or loss. When you forgave yourself for being tied to hurtful people, places, and things, and when you recognize that you were blocking your own love, this is when you broke through a consciousness parameter. This means that you are no longer in the cycle of birth and death and birth and death. No, now it's all birth. It's all gas. It's all growth. And this is only because of your sacred agreement and your covenant. Y'all, this means that no matter what you went through, you were always on the phone with the Most High. You know those people who spend their entire day and they never take out their AirPod, and it seems like literally all day, no matter what they're talking to somebody. That's not a problem. But what I'm saying is no matter what you went through, you were always on the phone with the Most High. Something was always being transmitted. You were always getting the message. You were always getting the drop. Y'all, you did something amazing in a very dark environment, in a very dark experience where people were relentless with making you experience lack and loss. You were their greatest offering. You were their greatest sacrifice. And they were obsessed with using you in this way because of the core and the nature of who you are and what you do, not just in this life or in this world, but I mean like the eternity of what you represent. And so entities know you, not in this life, but in the last one. Y'all, there is a love offer coming to you. I literally have love offer, 10 of cups. It's easy for me to receive. That was a part of the covenant. That is one thing that the Most High needed you to remember. No matter what they send to you, no matter what you walk through, you are my seed. You carry no fear. Love will be offered to you. Y'all, the 10 of cups, what does that represent? What type of love is the 10 of cups? I'm talking about emotional and financial security, love, contentment, togetherness, long-term projects coming to fruition. Y'all, you can and will and must have it all. Your sacred promise with the Most High includes blessings. Never forget about your blessings. There should be no entity. There should be no darkness. There should be no sacrifice that is so great that you have forgot about the messages that the Most High has asked you to solidify in this earth. You are walking love. I love y'all so much. This is our Tuesday message. I will not see you on Wednesday. Patreon, I'll see you. And I love y'all. Have a beautiful day. Take care. Bye-bye.